I am the IGAP specialist in Nome, and I work for 20 different tribes in our region. 16 of those tribes have IGAP now, luckily, and we're working hard to get the other 4 up and running too. And so we would all have funding to do these projects. And what the specifics of my program is recycling and backhaul. And so I have had 3 years of experience of gathering up hazardous materials in the villages and getting them to Nome, and then transferring them to either air carrier or the barge system to get them onto Anchorage or Seattle for recycling. And the reason it's near and dear to my heart is that I want to make sure that our people in the villages are as healthy as possible. Hazmat paperwork is not my cup of tea. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's really not that hard either. And I want to dispel the myth that it's a hard and difficult thing. I've heard around the state and many places that I've been that people are afraid of even getting into backhauling because they're afraid of tackling things that are unknown. And oftentimes hazmat paperwork can be one of those unknowns. So I just wanted to bring that to this conference so that we can take a look at some examples of hazmat paperwork, the proper ways to fill them out, and just dispel the myth that it's a scary thing. Okay, so you're pretty familiar with these books. I'll just touch on them really briefly here in a little bit, but the CFR, DOT book, and then the ERG. These are 2 important books to have, and if you've been through the HAZWOPER course, you probably have them in your office. If you don't have them, they're pretty easy to obtain. I'll tell you a little bit more about where I'm coming from and give you kind of some examples of why you might even find this necessary or important. So this is just a picture from a freon removal course that we did in Nome. Some of you might know Larry Zirkle. He's right there in the front and center, and he came up to Nome to do this freon removal course. Most of these people are either IGAP workers or landfill operators. All came together, 3 or 4 days of pure fun and freon removal and having a really great time doing solid waste management. Here we're loading batteries for air cargo shipment. And the first year that I was starting this backhaul program, we did everything through Everett's Air Cargo. I had called up a bunch of different places and, hey, would you give me a reduced price for backhauling through air? And Everett stepped up and said, yep, we'll work with you guys. We'll give you a good discount. Let's get it on. And so we started working with Everett's, learned the proper ways of packaging lead acid batteries. That's a picture of how we would put them into totes. This was at a training that we had. Here is a picture of, it's really dark here, but that's 3 stacks of batteries getting ready for a barge shipment. And we're working with Alaska Logistics barge company, and they give us free voyages from Nome down to Seattle. So I would encourage you guys to talk with Everett's, talk with Alaska Logistics, talk with your barge companies and your air cargo companies that go in and out of your villages, and see if you can get reduced rates, because oftentimes these businesses will work with you and help you get rid of some of the stuff that they're helping to bring into your community. So for barge cargo shipment, we're allowed to actually palletize on a pallet. They don't have to be in a tote. And we send the batteries down to West Seattle Recycling, and they pay us for the cores. And so this is how they wanted them wrapped up. 2 inches of styrofoam in the middle so that the battery terminals aren't getting crushed, and then shrink wrapped all the way around it. So those are just a couple examples of some of the hazardous things that we send out. The top picture is a group of us. We put on an electronic waste event, so an e-waste event. So this is a group of people who got together and put on this 3-day event, told the the whole region, send in your stuff, you know, or known people could just bring it by. And we had a few days of a lot of fun, just breaking everything down, repackaging it, getting it ready for shipment. So I just wanted to show you that this is the type of backhaul that my program is involved with on a regional level and on a local level in Nome. Bering Air is our local air carrier. I went to our local small air carriers that are in from the villages to Nome. They don't go to Anchorage or anywhere big, but they are all throughout our region. And I went to 3 different ones at the time, and I said, hey, could you help us get some of this stuff out of the villages? And 2 of them said, nope, sorry, can't help you. And Bering Air said, yep, we'll bring it all back for free. So here's just a picture of them getting, this is the flatbed that I have, and you can see the tote of batteries on the flatbed. They'll call me up, hey, you got a shipment of e-waste that came in, just wanted to let you know, even if it's just a message on my phone, you know. Hey, just wanted to let you know there's some batteries came in from Elam. And so I'll go down there with my flatbed, they load them up, the guys never complain, pilots never complain. Every once in a while I bake a cake or something, take it down, thanks guys, you know, or put an ad in the newspaper and say thank you to Bering Air, thank you to Alaska Logistics, thanks Everett's, and just give that thanks back, because people like to be recognized. And that's important to do. It's really good for their businesses, and they're giving a lot to our communities. Now, I want to point out that, see that white sticker there on the tote? That sticker right there is something that's going to be really important for you to have on your battery totes. So this is another picture. Alaska Logistics donated these vans to us. We get to keep them until we fill them up, then they take them and they give us empties. That's like a revolving thing that they have with us. And if you guys need Connex vans for your staging areas, ask for them, because oftentimes your barge companies will comp those to you. They'll let you use them as long as they can get them back, you know, and know that they can get them back when they need them. So for the first year, I was only going through Everett's. It wasn't until the second year that I started using Alaska Logistics as well. And so now I'm using both carriers, which is great, because Everett's flies all year round. And the barge can take more, but they're only in the summer, so it works really well. When I want to go to Anchorage, I use Everett's, and when I want to go to Seattle, I use Alaska Logistics. So those are my 2 routes of getting things.